in another episode of Star Trek Picard, called Impossible Box, not to be confused with Mystery Box. See? Anyway, in another episode, retreading old material that's already been done and resolved. So, Picard still suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of his Borg experience that took place, 30 years ago, and that he dealt with within the series of The Next Generation and in the movie First Contact, the only good Next Generation film. But let's just do it again, because we got nothing. When you think over the years of Star Trek The Next Generation and the different elements that were displayed there, you'd think you could find a show that you could expand upon, some concept that they brought in and say, hey, that could go further, there's some things that were never resolved within the series, and they could have gone with that, but nah, that's too much work, It could have been something along the lines of Wrath of Khan. See, they thought, hey, let's look at the old TV show and find if there's something there that we could make the movie about. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. That'll never work. Anyway, so, yeah, he's still upset about, Locutus and all that stuff. But he's got to go to the Borg Cube to find Soji, so he's just going to have to deal with it. And it doesn't work out too well for him until Hugh shows up and everything's fine. Oh, yeah, and he says, Hugh, boy, it's so good to see a familiar face. Well, you didn't want to see any. You had people said, hey, don't you want to contact LaForge or somebody like that to help you out?
Oh, no, I don't want them to get involved.
Well, all right.
I need to find someone who hates me.
Anyway, so here we are, and he finally makes contact with Soji, and there's a chase, and then they escape through a secret door type deal that the Borg had, and he's able to go probably to the planet where Soji was created, because we get a bit of the revelation, at least to the Romulan spies, thanks to Narek seducing her and luring her into his little dream room, where she keeps having these dreams about her father, whom she can't see. One would assume that this was Bruce Maddox, but maybe it's someone else. And so, but what Narek is interested in is, where is the dream taking place, not any of the secrets. The secret revealed is that the dream shows her as sort of a Pinocchio figure laying on a table in pieces, and so, surprise, you're an android. And she looks up and sees two moons, and there's lightning everywhere. So they're able to get the computer to figure out where that could be. So now they know where this secret planet is, where supposedly these synthetic people are being developed or what have you. So that's what the Romulans are after. So Narek and his creepy incestuous sister have what they need to go find this out. So in her escape, because Narek is supposed to kill her with some sort of radioactive gas or whatever it is, but in her panic, her superpowers activate and she smashes her way through the floor and escapes, and then just happens to fall through the ceiling where Picard is. Well, actually, Hugh was finding her signal and figuring out where she was. Okay. So Picard,
oh, I tried to save your sister, but I couldn't. But now I'm here to save you.
Oh, and he falls over and takes a nap. No, then they go back. They're on the run, and for whatever reason, I guess because the Romulans would have locked down the cube, so you couldn't beam Picard back out. So he had to use this Borg. Oh wait, no, that doesn't work, does it? Because Elfron gets worried about Picard, so he beams himself into the Borg cube, which, how did he do that? Why not just beam Picard out? Yeah. So he goes in and slices and dices some Romulans, and Picard is like, gives him a lecture about murder? No.
I told you to stay on the ship. Oh, but I'm so glad you're here.
So
You can kill those Romulans, just not the ones on that planet where I left you and then came back for you. No.
So anyway, does all that, and then for whatever reason, he won't go with Picard. He says, I have to hold them off. Well, he doesn't really need to. They're not there yet, and Hugh could take care of the rest. But they didn't really give him a reason. He just stays behind. So Picard and Soji leap through the magic doorway to next week's episode. And Elfron and Hugh go shut down the secret door to this room that the Romulans obviously never knew about, and have to face the Romulan guards coming and all that. So, yeah. Anyway, Agnes gets laid with Rios because she's upset having murdered Bruce Maddox, her other boyfriend. Of course, Rios doesn't know this, but he might not want to get involved with her. Then he takes Rafi to bed. No, I was wondering if it was going there, but no. She just gets really drunk, and he has to put her to bed because she's passing out, drunk and depressed, all about her son from last week's episode and whatnot. And it shows Rios has a tender, caring side. But they had to use Rafi to call in some favors from some Starfleet friend of hers, and they managed to basically extort her into helping Picard get some Starfleet credentials to be able to beam onto the Romulan, the Romulan cube with the former Borg cube that the Romulans now control. So, there you go. I'm thinking this is ultimately going to lead up to what I think it was Red Letter Media was suggesting that we'll find out that the Romulans were responsible for the Borg. Now, the thing about that is the Next Generation introduced the Borg as being on the far side of the galaxy. I can't remember which quadrant it was, but the only way they got there was because Q pretty much willed them over there, and then they came in contact with the Borg, and the problem was the Borg now knew of the Federation and Starfleet, and so eventually they showed up in Federation space. So that really wouldn't fit in with the Borg having been, a lot of it looked like Discovery was going to suggest that Section 31 created the Borg, but they didn't go through with it. I suppose they could still revisit that. And now this one, so let's dust that off again and try and say the Romulans did it. Another favorite theory has been that like V'ger was connected with the Borg, and you could work that out, that's who created V'ger at some point. Yeah, I don't know. But with the Romulans doing it, and then somehow they just go off in the other part of the galaxy, never to be seen or heard from again until Q screws this up. I don't know. And then the other Red Letter Media theory was that Soji is a Q. It's looking like she's the android, but Q. But there's been rumors that Q will show up at the end of the series and would have something more to do with the next season. I don't know, but the origin of the Borg being all connected and everything, it's just, you don't need to do that. And again, there's other aspects of the old show that you could look into, but I don't think these guys even know about that. It's just they probably looked, what's the closest thing to Star Wars? Well, they had this cube thing that's like the Death Star. Is it? Not really, but let's pretend it is. The Borg, oh wow, those are villainous, monstrous looking creatures, and it's all dark and nasty, and oh, you get your limbs ripped off and your eyes pulled out, and so they just thought that was cool, and that's about it. You have soap opera level stuff going on here, which it could work and was an aspect of those Trek shows. It was, but it wasn't the sole thing. You've got your basic plot, and those plots man, they had how many plots? Because they would do it all in one episode and then move on. The soap opera stuff was in the background, and that would carry on. The relationships between the characters. But this show drags out for 10 episodes the plot that would have been in one episode in the old show, and the wear and tear shows. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah, Impossible Box. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my many stores that have plenty of goodies for you. Most notably, my comic book Night Night over at IndiePlanet.com, yeah. And you can catch my podcast over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos at BitChute, the Mr. Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.